Hello everyone, my name is Kenny Cormandy from the Airgun channel, My Airgun Reviews. As everybody knows, Google has pretty much castrated gun and airgun video revenues over the past year, and they no longer cover the cost of making these videos. I have set up a website with a description of how you can help, and I've also activated a PayPal account where people can make donations to help keep these reviews coming. I was funding them out of my own pocket, but over a year ago I was diagnosed with cancer. That has become very costly, and I can no longer afford to fund these videos out of my pocket. So if you want to make a one-time contribution or a monthly contribution, whatever you like, you just go to the description below this video, and there are links to both the website and the PayPal account. And this next review that you were going to see has been funded as much by donations as the ad revenues. My name is Kenny Cormandy, and now let's get to the next video. Welcome back. Today we are going to do a pellet test. I saw a new pellet by Gamo. It is called the Gamo AirStar 6-blade sharp tip pellet. This is a 177 caliber. The package says 5.1 grain. 150 count. It is not a 5.1 grain. I weighed 10 of them, and the average pellet weight is 4.84 grain, which would definitely affect your power numbers over the chronograph. I chronoed these pellets and they average 1201 feet per second to 1231 feet per second, with an average foot per second of 1218 feet per second. So that fastest shot at the 4.84 grain, which they really weigh, was 16.29 foot-pounds of muzzle energy, and average was 15.95. I was not expecting great numbers out of that light of pellet. The gun used for this test was the RWS Diana Model 34 Classic 177 caliber. It's just 1,000 foot per second Magnum Springer. It's not a Super Magnum. And I was really leery of what to use for a target at 20 yards, because my first shots with this pellet were using a Crossman Incursion, which shot some pellets very, very well. I'm talking just over a 1/4 inch group, and I was getting about a 1.5 inch group with these pellets at 12 yards, so I figured at 20 I'd better have a big target. So I used a 12 by 12 target. I figured I couldn't miss with that. And before I got to do the 20-yard accuracy test, I sold the Incursion, and so my next best pellet rifle for this test was a new Diana RWS Model 34 Classic. I had shot maybe 35-45 pellets through it, got it all zoned in, and it was grouping pretty good. And when I was just breaking it in, I took out a tin of 10.5 grain Crossman Premier Magnums, and it did alright with them. So when I went to do the 20-yard accuracy test with this pellet, I took one shot at the target to see where it's hitting, and it was hitting about a 1-inch low left of the target, and I figured that was good enough. And so I turned on the camera and ran 4 more shots using the Crosman Premier domed ultra magnums, 10.5 grain, and it grouped very, very well. I mean, it's the kind of shot group you would expect to get with a pellet rifle that's completely broke in. Then I took out the Gamo AirStars and I caught them on camera, and I was actually impressed at how well the Model 34 shot those pellets. The Crosman Premier Ultra Magnum Dome pellet was a .42 inch shot pattern, and the Gamo, the Gamo AirStar 6-blade sharp tip pellet was a 1.35 inch. You know, it's nowhere near what the Crosman shot, but it was a lot tighter than I was expecting at 20 yards. But a 1.35 inch shot pattern at 20 yards, you're not going to be shooting any small birds or anything with it. It's going to have to be a pretty good sized bird. And if you're trying to do headshots with squirrels, that won't work. So accuracy is kind of out the window with this pellet. But I figured we would see how the pellet did in ballistics. Let's take a first close-up look at this pellet. And now let's take a look at the 20-yard accuracy test. And the camera is closer to the target than it is the gun. And what I did was I took one shot with Crosman Premier Dome, satisfied where it was shooting, started the camera, shot 4 more so you could see the 5-shot pattern, and then went to the Gamo AirStar, and you can definitely hear the difference of what it's like shooting that pellet just through a Magnum Springer. Not through a Super Magnum, just a Magnum Springer. And I was getting over 118 decibels out there. So let's take a look at the accuracy test. Okay, so this is not a pellet you're going to use in your backyard, not if you live in an urban or suburban area. You're not going to eliminate squirrels or pest birds shooting this pellet. It's just way too loud. I mean, you're going to get your neighbor's attention out in the country with this one. Okay, now I did do a ballistics test at 12 yards. That was somebody wanting to buy a pellet rifle. Okay, I did do a ballistics test at 12 yards, and compensating for the pellet shooting high left, I hit pretty much centered on the 10-pound block of clay. And I was actually quite impressed at the penetration, how far it went in. I was not expecting that. But the reason was this pellet had literally no expansion, actually 0 expansion. I'll see if I can get up close enough to, it's just absolutely no expansion. This pellet is alloy, it's all metal, there is no lead in it. It's not designed to expand very much. I suppose the 6 blades on it are designed to knife through. And let's take a look at the ballistics test. You'll see the cavity that it made and the direction that it went, and then we'll go from there. Okay, let's take a look and see what that pellet did. That pellet took a crazy turn in here. Well, I am actually impressed by the penetration. Let's unzoom and see if we can. Absolutely zero mushrooming whatsoever. So the pellets went 3/4 of the way through, but just a very, very narrow channel. So it makes a lot of noise, it travels fast, but it's not very accurate, and you're not going to have a lot of range. That was at 12 yards. The initial hole for a little over an inch in was decent size, but then it was a very narrow channel all the way through, and it went about halfway in and then took a sharp down and right turn, and so it went plenty far in. Did not have a straight trajectory when it went in, so if you're doing a body shot to go through the heart, the pellet would have shot off in another direction. Once it entered your prey, so it's not accurate enough to do a headshot on a squirrel. In a body shot, you're at the mercy of whatever direction this lightweight pellet's going to deflect off. Because of its sharp nature, it does go a long ways in, but I wouldn't trust it to give you a humane kill on anything. And it's not a pellet you're going to shoot in an urban or suburban area, you know, eliminating pests like squirrels and rabbits and birds. So it's also a very expensive pellet. I've seen it, you know, $9.99 is the cheapest I saw it for 150 pellets, up to $16.95. So it is a very spendy pellet, and unless you just want to make a bunch of noise out there shooting your air gun, making people think you got a real gun, this pellet really has no use. I just can't imagine why anyone would try and kill an animal with, you know, this kind of pellet. There's so many pellets out there, lead pellets and, you know, pointed pellets that are going to penetrate skull, but those pellets are like tech drivers. I mean, they just you know you're going to hit what you're shooting at. you don't know you're going to hit what you're shooting at with this pellet. Probably its biggest drawback is its accuracy. I was amazed that this particular gun shot it as well as it did, because shooting through a Crossman pellet rifle, I got larger shot patterns at 12 yards than I did shooting the RWS Diana. So a really quality pellet rifle still gets a 1.35 inch shot pattern at 20 yards. And not everybody out there is going to be shooting this through a Diana. So I am giving this pellet a big thumbs down, both for price and for accuracy. And that's my review of the Gamo AirStar. My name is Kenny Cormandy, and thank you for watching.